What if the woman you admired told you, "You deserve someone younger," only for your answer to change both of your lives forever? Today's heartwarming story takes us back to the American frontier of the 1880s, where love wasn't measured by age, wealth, or appearance, but by loyalty, kindness, and the courage to open your heart again. Before we begin, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss another unforgettable story. Now sit back, relax, and let's get started. The year was 1887, and the vast valleys of Montana stretched beneath endless blue skies. Thomas Carter, a respected ranch owner of 48, had spent nearly 20 years building his land with nothing but determination and honest labor. Every fence post, every stable, and every acre of pasture had been raised by his own hands. Since losing his wife to a fever many years before, the ranch had become both his livelihood and his refuge. The townsfolk admired him for his integrity, but they also whispered that a man should not spend the rest of his life alone. Thomas paid little attention to gossip. His days began before sunrise, riding across the open range to check cattle, repair broken fences, and prepare for the coming winter. At sunset, he returned to an empty house where only the crackling fireplace greeted him. Though he rarely admitted it, loneliness had become his closest companion. One crisp October morning, Thomas rode into the small frontier town of Willow Creek to purchase supplies. The dusty streets were lined with wooden buildings, and wagons rolled slowly past the general store. That was where he first truly noticed Eleanor Hayes. Eleanor was 42, a widow who had managed the general store since her husband's passing 5 years earlier. She was known throughout the county for her honesty and quiet kindness. She helped struggling families by allowing them to pay for groceries after the harvest, and she never turned away hungry children. Yet despite her generous heart, she kept an invisible wall around herself. She smiled politely, but never allowed anyone close. Thomas found himself returning to the store more often than necessary. Sometimes he bought coffee, other times lamp oil, flour, or nails he already had stacked in his barn. The truth was simple. He enjoyed their conversations. Eleanor spoke with intelligence and warmth, asking about the ranch, the weather, and the changing seasons. She listened with genuine interest, something Thomas had not experienced in years. As autumn slowly gave way to colder days, their friendship quietly deepened. They often walked together after the store closed, talking beneath the golden cottonwood trees that lined the creek. For the first time since his wife's death, Thomas felt that his heart was beginning to hope again. One evening, as the last rays of sunlight painted the sky in shades of orange and crimson, Thomas stopped beside the old wooden bridge outside town. Gathering every ounce of courage he possessed, he looked into Eleanor's gentle eyes and softly said, "Eleanor, I believe life has given us another chance." Eleanor lowered her eyes, her hands tightening around the small basket she carried. After a long silence, she finally whispered, "Thomas, you deserve someone younger." For a moment, the evening breeze was the only sound between them. Then Thomas smiled with quiet confidence, tipped his hat, and replied, "Funny. I was hoping for someone exactly like you." Eleanor looked up in surprise. No one had ever spoken to her that way. Since becoming a widow, she had convinced herself that the happiest years of her life were already behind her. She believed no respectable man would choose a woman whose youth had passed. Yet Thomas saw something far more valuable than age. He saw compassion, strength, wisdom, and a heart that had never stopped caring for others. "I don't need someone younger," Thomas continued. "I've spent enough years chasing success. Now I'm looking for peace, honesty, and someone I can share the rest of my life with." Tears slowly filled Eleanor's eyes. For the first time in many years, she allowed herself to believe that happiness might still be waiting for her. The following spring, the entire town gathered at the little white church overlooking the valley. Friends, neighbors, ranchers, and merchants filled every bench to witness the wedding. It was a simple ceremony, with fresh wildflowers decorating the altar and birds singing outside the open windows. There were no grand celebrations or expensive gifts, only sincere smiles and heartfelt blessings. Life on the Carter Ranch changed in the best possible way. Eleanor transformed the lonely farmhouse into a warm and welcoming home. Travelers were always offered a hot meal, struggling families never left empty-handed, and orphaned children often found shelter under their roof until relatives could be located. Thomas admired how naturally Eleanor filled every room with kindness. Years passed, and although both of them grew older, their love only became stronger. They faced harsh winters, difficult harvests, and countless challenges together, never once regretting the decision they had made on that quiet autumn evening. Whenever young couples asked Thomas the secret to a lasting marriage, he would simply smile and say, "Beauty catches your eye, but character keeps your heart. Never search for the youngest person in the room. Search for the one who makes your soul feel at home." Holding Eleanor's hand, he would look across the Montana sunset, knowing he had found exactly the woman he had been hoping for all along.